There comes a moment in every person's life when they finally recognize a truth the Stoics discovered thousands of years ago, that most of our suffering is not caused by the world, but by how we interpret it. Epictetus said, "Men are disturbed not by things, but by the views which they take of things." This single principle opens the door to a new kind of strength, a strength that is calm, unshakable, and inwardly free. This script is about that strength. It is about the principles that allow a person to walk through storms without trembling, to endure insult without losing dignity, to face chaos without becoming chaotic, and to remain steady even while everything around them is shifting. These are the principles that make a human being untouchable, not because life becomes easy, but because you learn how to master yourself. What follows are 10 Stoic principles rooted in Epictetus, expanded for the modern mind. Not quick tips, not shallow advice, but the deep internal architecture of a person who is no longer shaped by the world, but by reason, discipline, and unshakable inner strength. Take a calm breath. Settle your mind. Let us begin. 1. Control what you can. Release what you cannot. The core of Stoic strength begins here. If you fail this principle, nothing else will save you. If you master it, everything else becomes easier. Epictetus said, "Some things are in our control and others are not." Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by ignoring things that lie beyond our control. Every disturbance in your life can be traced back to forgetting this distinction. You feel anxious because you are trying to control outcomes. You feel frustrated because you want to manage other people's behavior. You feel resentful because you expect the world to behave according to your preferences. The Stoic way is simple, but not easy. Do not tie your peace to anything you cannot command. Ask yourself constantly, is this situation within my control? Is this emotion based on my attachment to something external? Is this fear coming from trying to control the unpredictable? Most people spend their entire lives in a state of mental slavery, enslaved to opinions, praise, criticism, outcomes, weather, chance, luck, fate. A Stoic aims to be free, and freedom begins with letting go. When you recognize that you have power only over your thoughts, actions, choices, and character, you stop wasting energy on everything else. You reclaim your mind from the world. You stop chasing things outside your command. And suddenly, you stand firm. Nothing can shake a person who has stopped trying to control what is uncontrollable. 2. Train your mind to respond, not react. The Stoics understood that your first impression is automatic, but your reaction is a choice. Epictetus said, "If someone succeeds in provoking you, realize that your mind is complicit." This means that no insult can hurt you unless you grant it power. No provocation can disturb you unless you open the door to it. What someone says is external. What you feel is internal. A person who reacts is a slave. A person who responds is free. The world is full of people who move through life like leaves in the wind. Pushed, pulled, stirred, angered, flattered, terrified, offended. They have no mastery over themselves. They are shaped by whatever stimulus reaches them. Epictetus taught the opposite. Pause, reflect, choose. When an insult comes, do not react in the heat of emotion. Let it pass through you as though it were an echo fading in a valley. When fear arises, examine it before obeying it. When anger stirs, question it before expressing it. The Stoics did not suppress emotion. They supervised it. They governed it. They used reason as their general and emotion as their soldier. You train your mind through daily practice, through moments of silence before speaking, through observing your impulses without being driven by them, through reminding yourself of this truth. Is this worth losing my peace? Most things are not. If you learn to pause, even for a heartbeat, you regain authority over yourself, and a person who controls himself cannot be controlled by the world. 3. Detach your happiness from external circumstances. The Stoics believe that the greatest weakness is dependency, depending on others to validate you, depending on success to feel worthy, depending on comfort to feel calm, depending on luck to feel safe. Epictetus warned, if you rely on externals for happiness, you will always be disappointed. External things are unstable. They can be taken. They can change. They can fail. They can vanish. If your happiness depends on praise, you will suffer criticism. If it depends on wealth, you will suffer loss. If it depends on people acting a certain way, you will suffer constantly. True inner peace requires independence, not isolation. Independence. The Stoic sees external things as bonuses, not necessities. He appreciates them without worshipping them. He uses them without clinging to them. He enjoys them without depending on them. Ask yourself, if I lost this tomorrow, could I remain calm? If this person changed their mind about me, would I collapse? If this plan failed, would I lose myself? A Stoic is not destroyed by loss because they never anchor their soul to anything fragile. They root their peace in something unbreakable, their character, their values, their principles. When nothing external controls your happiness, then nothing external can threaten it. 4. Accept what happens as part of the natural order. Epictetus said, "Seek not for events to happen as you wish, but wish for events to happen as they do happen, and your life will flow smoothly." This principle is the antidote to frustration, bitterness, and emotional exhaustion. Stoics did not deny reality. They embraced it. Most human suffering comes from resisting what is already true. People argue with reality as though it will bend to their dissatisfaction. A Stoic conserves energy by aligning with the natural order. The Stoic asks, what is the fact of this moment? Not, what do I wish it were? Not, why did this happen? But simply, what is happening right now, and how should I respond with reason? The more you accept the nature of things, the less you torture yourself. Rain falls, people misbehave, life is unpredictable, plans change, obstacles appear, sickness comes, loss arrives, time passes. None of this is unfair, none of it is personal. It is simply the nature of things. To fight nature is to exhaust yourself endlessly. To accept it is to move with strength and clarity. When you stop resisting, you stop suffering unnecessarily. You conserve your energy for the things that matter. You become fluid instead of rigid. You become adaptable instead of frustrated. And life stops feeling like a battle and begins to feel like a path. 5. View every difficulty as training. The Stoics believe that hardship is not a punishment, but preparation. Epictetus compared life to a gymnasium, a place where you strengthen the mind the same way athletes strengthen the body. He said, difficulties show a person's character. No great thing is created suddenly. You will become strong only through effort and endurance. Modern society avoids discomfort at every turn, but the Stoic voluntarily enters difficulty to grow from it. He welcomes challenges, not because they are pleasant, but because they are useful. When something difficult happens, the ordinary person cries, "Why me?" The Stoic asks, "For what purpose?" To build endurance, to strengthen patience, to refine discipline, to sharpen perception, to practice calmness under fire, to free yourself from fear. Everything that challenges you trains you. An insult trains your detachment. A delay trains your patience. A failure trains your resilience. A loss trains your independence. A difficult person trains your mastery over your reactions. A disappointment trains your ability to accept reality. A hardship trains your courage. Life is a classroom. The Stoic sees every situation as a lesson sent by nature. He uses everything for growth. When you view hardship as training, nothing can break you, because every blow becomes fuel for becoming stronger. 6. Remain. unaffected by the opinions of others. Epictetus taught that the opinions of others are external and therefore irrelevant to your inner peace. He said, "If you wish to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. As long as you care what others think, you are their slave." Most people spend their lives building a prison out of public opinion. They fear being judged. They chase approval. They try to project an image rather than build character. They shrink themselves to avoid criticism. The Stoic rejects this entirely. A Stoic asks, "Who is judging me? Do they possess wisdom? Do I respect their character? Is their judgment based on reason?" If the answer is no, the opinion is dismissed. If the answer is yes, the opinion is considered but not obeyed blindly. You free yourself from opinions by grounding your self-worth in virtue rather than applause. You stop asking, "What will they think?" and instead ask, "Is this morally right? Does this align with my principles? Is this worthy of the person I want to become?" When your compass is internal, external voices lose their power. Praise does not inflate you. Criticism does not crush you. You become stable, anchored in reason, not reputation. A person who is not controlled by opinions becomes immovable. 7. Master your desires before they master you. A major principle of Epictetus is the control of desire, not the destruction of desire, the control of it. He said, "No person is free who is not master of themselves." Freedom is the control of desire. Desire is not evil, but it is dangerous. It blinds judgment, creates dependency, causes impatience, and forms emotional chains. Most people are dragged through life by their impulses, wanting endlessly, consuming endlessly, comparing endlessly, but each desire steals a piece of your autonomy. The Stoic reverses this. He does not live to satisfy every craving. He does not consume without thinking. He does not chase pleasure as if his life depends on it. He understands that the more he desires, the more he suffers. The Stoic practices voluntary discomfort, to eat simply, to abstain from excess, to rest without laziness, to take cold, disappointment, rejection as exercises. By doing this, he proves to himself that he does not need much to be stable. He dismantles the illusion that happiness is somewhere outside him. He trains himself to endure the absence of luxury. When desire no longer rules you, you become capable of acting from reason rather than craving. You become steady rather than restless. You become free rather than enslaved. 8. Maintain inner stillness through mind. Discipline. The Stoics believe that the mind must be trained like an athlete trains the body. Without discipline, the mind becomes frantic, chaotic, and weak. Epictetus said, "First, say to yourself what you would be, then do what you must do." The chief task in life is simply this: to identify and separate matters so that I may say clearly, which are externals not under my control and which have to do with the choices I actually control. Inner stillness requires mental responsibility. You must govern your thoughts, not drift with them passively. The Stoic trains daily, observing thoughts without obeying them, dismissing irrational fears, reframing negative perspectives, grounding himself in reason, questioning assumptions, practicing silence, reflecting on mistakes, planning according to virtue, refining judgment, meditating on principles. Stillness is not the absence of thought. It is the mastery of thought. A disciplined mind is like a calm lake, deep, steady, and clear. An undisciplined mind is like a storm, loud, violent, and self-destructive. Your mind becomes still when you stop feeding it with unnecessary noise. Silence is not an escape from life. It is preparation for life. In silence, the Stoic becomes aware of what truly matters. He clears the clutter. He sharpens his judgment. He strengthens his resolve. And when the noise of the world arrives, it cannot enter him. He stands firm in inner peace. 9. Accept mortality and the fragility of life. A foundational Stoic principle is remembrance of death, memento mori. Not to frighten yourself, but to wake yourself up. Epictetus said, "Keep death and exile before your eyes each day, along with everything that seems terrible. By doing so, you will never have a base thought, nor will you have excessive desire." Most people avoid thinking about death, and because of this avoidance, they waste their lives. They hesitate, they procrastinate, they cling to trivial things, they fear loss so much that they fail to live. The Stoic confronts mortality directly. He accepts it as part of nature. He does not fear it because fearing what is inevitable is irrational. Remembering death does not darken life, it brightens it. When you accept that time is limited, you stop wasting it. You stop fearing minor inconveniences. You stop obsessing over reputation. You stop holding grudges. You stop delaying meaningful action. You stop treating life as endless. You become present, aware, focused, appreciative. Mortality gives life urgency and meaning. It sharpens your choices. It reveals what truly matters. It frees you from pettiness. A person who has accepted death has nothing left to fear. And a person who fears nothing cannot be controlled by anything. 10. Live. According to virtue, not emotion or impulse. This is the ultimate Stoic principle, the principle from which all others flow. Virtue is the alignment of your actions with reason, with moral strength, with integrity, with duty, with justice, with courage, with self-control. Epictetus said, "If you wish to be good, first believe that you are bad. Only the educated are free." Virtue means living deliberately rather than impulsively. It means living with discipline rather than convenience. It means choosing what is right rather than what is easy. It means valuing character above everything else. The Stoic asks himself daily, is this action worthy of the person I want to become? Not, do I feel like doing this? Not, will people like this? Not, does this benefit me immediately? No, the question is this aligned with virtue? Virtue is the armor that keeps a person unshaken. Virtue is the root of inner peace. Virtue protects your integrity from corruption. Virtue protects your conscience from guilt. Virtue protects your judgment from distortion. When you live according to virtue, your life becomes simple. Not easy, simple. You know what to do. You know what not to do. You know what to avoid. You know what to embrace. You know who you are. And when you know who you are, nothing the world does can touch you. Conclusion: the unshakable person. The person who lives by these principles becomes someone rare, someone calm in chaos, patient in difficulty, rational under stress, humble in success, unaffected by insults, free from external control, and anchored deeply within themselves. This person does not escape life. They engage it with strength. They do not bend to the world. They stand firm within it. They do not collapse under pressure. They grow under it. By living with reason, with virtue, with acceptance, with discipline, with self-mastery, you become untouchable. Not because the world stops testing you, but because you have become stronger than the test. This is the goal of Stoicism. This is the message of Epictetus. This is the path of the unshakable mind. Walk it with discipline. Walk it with courage. Walk it with clarity. And you will discover what the Stoics discovered, that nothing can affect a person who has mastered themselves.